and welcome back to Gapey's Garden. This is going to be a three-part series on the Three Sisters companion planting method. This is my first year growing corn and my first year doing this Three Sisters method, but I read a lot about it, and it seems to be a popular way to grow corn, beans, and squash all together in the same area. So the first thing you need to do is start the corn. You can't start all of these three all at once because the corn needs to be established before the beans grow up the stalk. So I'm starting them indoors. You can also start them outdoors directly in the ground. But I chose to use these little soil pouches that I got from Urban Organic Gardener with my Seeds of the Month Club. And they send about 10 of these every month with my seeds, but I never use them. So I decided to give them a try with the corn here. I've heard that corn doesn't like its roots disturbed, so I figured this would be a good way to grow the corn indoors. Now you need to soak these little pouches in some water for about 4 to 5 minutes. So I sped up the video so you could see them grow as they soak in the water. Now you'll have to check it after a couple minutes to make sure that there's still some water in there. Now I added a little bit more, and then once they're complete, you may need to empty out any excess water that's still in there. Now I'm doing the gentleman corn. If you haven't heard of that one, the corn is kind of in a random order. It's not in rows like most corn is. I got these from a seed exchange, so I thought I'd give them a try. And I started 30 of these little packets, and I plan on planting 25 of them, a 5x5 square. So I planted a couple extras in case some of them don't germinate. And then I put them on a heat mat at about 75 degrees. And I put them in this like salad container is what this was from. So you can reuse pretty much anything. I thought this worked pretty well and fit just perfectly. So 4 days later, they're already starting to germinate. I was really surprised they germinated that fast. But even more surprising is the roots on these guys. The roots were coming out the bottom, which I don't think is a good thing. You really want the roots to stay in the soil. So I'm going to have to plant these a little earlier than I had planned. And some of these even had roots out the bottom before it came out the top. So having roots exposed to the air like that is not very good. So I planted these out in the garden about a day, I think it was the next day after I noticed this. So I got out my yardstick and measured out a 5x5 pattern. And I spaced these out about a foot apart, I believe. And then I just buried them in the ground, and I just put them right pretty much soil level. I didn't want to bury them too far. And any that were already sprouting up the top, I left a little bit of that on the top of the soil. I'm going to let this corn grow for a couple weeks until the stalks are about a foot tall before planting the beans around each stalk. And that will be the topic of the next video. If you grow corn, make sure you check on it on a daily basis for any missing or broken stalks because the crows love to eat corn seeds. They've already taken about 4 of my plants, so I've ended up covering my bed with a shade cloth, and so far that seems to be working, and I've already started a few more seeds to replace the ones that seem to have disappeared. Thanks for watching, and I hope you come back to see how the Three Sisters garden progresses.